Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today we're going to start the Succah Daf Vav. We're going to begin on the bottom of Hayamid Bays, about 5 lines from the bottom. Tells us that Shiurin, Chatzitzin, Umechitzin, Halach Mosh Messina. That measurements, the Chatzitza in a mikvah, as well as walls, as Halach Mosh Messina. We brought this down because in yesterday's Daf, we were trying to understand how do we see that a sukkah has to be at least 10 tefachim. So we tried to learn it out from the Aron and the Kaparas, which was 10 tefachim. Perhaps it wasn't 10 tefachim if each am is only 5 tefachim. So therefore we ended up saying it's a halach mosh messina. So the question is, shiurin deraisin inhu. We really know that measurements are actually found in a pasuk in the Torah. Dichsid. Eretz chitas sa'ir v'gevin of rimoy. So it's referring to these different foods in which Israel is blessed: wheat, barley, grapes, and figs, and pomegranates, dates. There's Eretz zeis, shemen, dvash. Yomar Rav Chanin, kol pasuk hazel l'shir nemar. This whole pasuk is coming to tell us different measurements for different things. Hitam, l'beis ha'manayga. When it comes to saras, a house which has leprosy, did not. Hanichnas l'beis ha'manayga, if a person enters into a house which has saras, the kelev al kseifav, and his clothes are on his shoulder, the sandal of the tavais of yado, and he's holding his shoes and his ring in his hand, huvehin tmein miyad. Tell me right away, as the pasuk says, v'ava el habayis yitma, as Rashi quotes. So in that case, everyone holds that clearly everything is tamei as we continue above the middle. However, let's say you're wearing your clothes, the sandal of the raglav, you're wearing your shoes, and your feet, the tabois about to be isav, and you have a ring on your finger. So who tamei miyad? Again, you become tamei right away. However, your clothes not so fast. Vehein tahirin at sheish b'chtei achilas pras. Only if you eat enough, which is achilas pras, paschitin vol pas tahirin. It's wheat. And this is how we learn out from the pasuk. It's something which is wheat, which is easier to eat, not barley. Meitza ba'ochel b'litva, reclining and eating it with a dip. So if you're eating with a dip, you're able to eat the bread faster. So that is the shiur when it comes to the din of your clothes becoming tamei if you're wearing them. Sa'ira, when it comes to barley, is also halacha. That non. Etzem, when it comes to the bone of a dead body, kisa'ira, the size of a barley seed, is matamba magmamasa and matamba ba'oil. It's going to be matamba by you either touching it or lifting it up, but we know it's not matamba ba'oil unless you have roy minyan, robinyan, or you have the shedra, you have the skull. Fine. Geffen. What do we know from grapes? Kedei revius yain l'nozir. So we know that a nozir is not allowed to drink or eat, consume grape products or wine, and therefore the din is, the shear is a revius. Te'ena, revius yain for a nazir. So te'ena, so ki gregus l'hoitza Shabbos. So when it comes to the din of a te'ena, of a fig, it's the measurement to carry on Shabbos. Even though the Gemara, as we know in Succah Shabbos, discusses that it's possible that the measurements are not always this. It depends on its utility and what the item is. However, just stam, you're a chayiv if you carry the amount of it, the size of a gregors. Rimoin did not. Kokli bali batim shirin ki rimoinim. It's also brought down the Succah Shabbos that when it comes to the vessels of a Baal Bayis, the measurement is a whole of a rimoin. If it's so big that even a rimoin can fall through, then it's tahar because it really has lost all its utility. However, it's dafted by kli bali batin. When it comes to a kli of an umnais, of an actual worker or someone who's selling these products, so even a small hole is the shear. Eretz zeis shemen udvash, eretz shikol shireh kazesim. All the measures are zayis. Kol shireh sachadarta chol yikahani d'amrina. We already mentioned all these other things. Wheat, barley, it's not all kazayas. El ema shireh shireh kazesim. The majority of things are the size of has the din of a zayas. fine. The Rashi says, for example, mace, nevela, iser chalev, iser of eating dam, pigel, noiser, tameh, gidanasha. All these things are the size of a zayis. Dvash, which really means honey, but it means honey that doesn't come from a bee, of a bee honey, right? But rather it means a fig. It's a large pit, large fig rather, with the pit on Yom Kippur, as we saw in the last parak in Succah Yomi. So we see that they're deraisa. How can you say the halach mashmasina? Does that make sense? Shirin miksivi. They don't actually have the measurements written down. It just says the pasuk. The pasuk just says smak b'yalma. How about the next thing which says halach mashmasina? Chatzitza. A chatzitza. Deraisa ninhu. It's not halach mashmasina. I'll tell you it's from the pasuk. That's it. Bracha says b'sor b'mayim. You have to wash your flesh directly in contact with water, which we learn. You can't have a chatzitza between you and the water. So what are you talking about? We see clearly it's a din deraisa. That's true. The kiyasa hilchosel is sa'ara. The halach Sinai has to do with your hair. Even when it comes to your hair, there's a din of chatzitza. What's that? Kid Rabbi bar Barchana. Remember Rabbi Barchana? Nima achas kshira chaitzetas. One hair. If it's tied, make a little knot into it, tight. It's a chatzitza. There's no water is going to get into that. Sholosh in chaitzetas. If you have three hairs, because they're together, and therefore the water will get into it still, so it's not a chatzitza. Shtayim yodei, I'm not sure about two. So sorry, nami deraisa. You tell me that hair is a halach mashmasina. That's also deraisa. Dechsev brachas es b'sar b'mayim, es a tafel b'sar b'mayim yusarei. So we see that really hair is also from the Torah, from the word es. So kiyasa hilchasa was Rabbi Yitzchak. We need the halach mashmasina for the din of Rabbi Yitzchak. Yom Rabbi Yitzchak, what does he say? And the next two words are important to translate properly as we continue the bubble of the days. Devar Torah. Devar Torah, Rashi says, halach mashmasina. Rubo yimak b'nolav chaytes. If, let's say, the majority of your hair is Rashi says matunaf batit, it's filled with mud, right? And therefore, it's a majority of it is dirty, and your makbid, you don't want it to be that way, so that's a chatzitza. Shena makbid alav enu chaytes. If, let's say, you don't care, it's not a chatzitza. However, if goyzer aruba shena makbid mishum rubo makbid, we're goyzer because in the case of rubo makbid, it's halach mashmasina, that's a chatzitza. So we're also going to be goyzer when it comes to a situation where you're not makbid. For that matter, also, v'al hamakmishim rubo makbid. Even if you have a small amount, the minority of your hair is this way, but since you're makbid, we're going to be goyzer atu roiv umakbid. So the Gemara asks, "V'ligzer nami al miyuta shena makbid mishum miyuta demakbid inami mishum rubo shena makbid." So we said no. He gufa gezerah. The ana nikum nigzer gezerah. So we said obviously if it's miyut and inu makbid, we're not going to be goyzer because that's a gezerah onto a gezerah. That we don't do. Mechitzin. How about the walls? So hadiyamr. We already said that. We already talked about that. That's our Mishnah of Sukkah, 10 tefachim high. So Rabbi Yehuda El Rameir Ma'ikameimar. According to him, he learned it out from the Aron the Kapiros, the Masgaris. Rant says Kiyasi Hilchos is good love of the Daif Nekuma. The dinim of good achis, good asik, machitzasa, that the walls go up, as we saw already a couple of blot ago. The din of Lavan, which we also saw, has to be within certain things have to be within 3 tefachim. Dark Akuma, we also saw in Daf Daled that a wall bends up until 4 amos. So those things we went out from. Everyone holds the halach mashmasina. Question 1: Chatzitza b'sarai ha'im hi midaraisa or mahalacha mashmasina? So if it's completely in your hair, then kula it's midaraisa. Ruba makbid halach mashmasina. So again, if your hair is tied, right? So that's halach mashmasina. That's actually a deraisa. Halach mashmasina if ruba makbid. Question 2: It'll be based halachos nimar l'mosh b'senu in the mechitzos Succah. Venim kishar dini mechitzos. So what are we're doing for the kuma, right? That we don't see. Even though Lovud we do have in other places, but this is unique to Succah. And also we're going to see Lagar Minas Daifan Achas V'Kmasa Tefach. And we're going to see later on that the fourth wall could even be, or the third wall doesn't have to be a real wall, it becomes a tefach. And a tefach is enough. Yishein lo sholosh tefanos. Turn about. Shtayim kilchos no shlish tefil tefach. Moshe Menor misholosh kilchos no revius tefil tefach. So it's a machlokas if you have to have two walls and the third one's a tefach, or Shimon is more strict. You have to have a big, more of a permanent structure, 3 walls, and the fourth wall has to be a tefach. So Mamai Kimikli. So where it gives, I believe, like 6 different terutzim of their machlokes. Rabbanan Savri Yeshem L'Mesiris, the way it is written. Shimon Savar Yeshem L'Mikra, the way it's read. Rabbanan Savri Yeshem L'Mesiris, the way it's written. Sukkahs. So 2 times it's chaser, 1 times with a vav. So it's harikan arba. So you have 1, 1, and 2 is 4. So dalchad, remove 1 l'gufa for the pasuk itself, for the pasuk shot. Pashalahu tlasa. So now you only have 3. Shtaim kehilchasan, v'yasi hilchasa, the halach Moshe Messina comes, v'garati l'shlishis v'ukma tefach. So it comes and minimizes it, that only needs to be a tefach. So Shimon Savar Yeshem L'Mikra. It's actually totally on the way it's read. Basukkos, and it's all as though it's with a vav. So harikan sheish. So dalchad kral gufa. You remove 1 for the pashup shot. 1 means 1 word, which is really 2. So that means we're left with 4. Pashalu arba. Shosh kehilchas and asay cry. Asa hilchasa v'garasa revis v'komasa atefach. So then the fourth one can be less, can only even be a tefach. That's it, number 1. Everyone holds that we go buster the way it's read, which is 6, therefore really it's 4. Question if it's 4, it sounds like Rosh Shimon. The Rabban hold Schach needs a pasuk, and therefore we're down to 3. Umar Salvar Schach lo boy kra, which is Rosh Shimon, that's why we're still at 4. Rather, it's the way it's actually written down, which is 4, which is 5. The Rabbanan say the third is to make it less. The Rav Shimon says no, the halach Moshe is 3, and then the halach Moshe is you have to add a tefach, which makes it 4. Fourth wall. Now everyone holds the halach Moshe is to lower the wall. And totally on the way it's written. So the question is, if it's the way it's written, so therefore you only have 3, and it should go down, so it sounds like the Ramana. V'hacha b'darshan b'chilos k'mifavit. Or our darshan b'chilos, or our in darshan b'chilos. In other words, when we say we use 1 pasuk for gufa, because you need that word, so we say no, maybe the question is, can we still darshan b'chilos? Can we still darshan that first one, therefore that word is still extra, so therefore you have 4. That's how Rav Shimon will say that we can darshan b'chilos. Mar Masna, Rav Masna, Rav Shimon Mahacha. He has a different explanation. It's based on the pasuk we saw already on Daf Beis. The Sukkah Til Yom Echayit. The Sukkah shall be shade in the day from the dry and difficult conditions. And then it says, Ulmachatsa Ulmisor Mizram Umata, that will protect you from the winds and the rains. So in other words, according to him, what's going to protect you from the elements? Something which is 3 and there's a whole open side? No, that certainly is not going to protect you from the elements. Therefore, based on this pasuk, Rav Shimon feels it's necessary that it has to be more of a permanent structure, like it has to have 4 walls, and that's the reason why he says that. So again, there's a few different answers to this question. Okay, we're going to stop there. Let's see a couple of questions. TA 16. The Sukkah Hasoye Kimin Gam. Gam is like an L. Kama shir hadayfin shlishis. So we kind of did this, but we'll see this. That's going to really be tomorrow's daf. Weiter TB17. But my commitment Rabbanim or Shimon, how do they argue regarding the crab of Sukkah's Teshvu? Ibn and Shosh Stefanis Gehilchasan Oshtayim says Kasu b'Katsar Dalid Nikudos D'Yeshlom the Pligilehem. Mention at least 4 answers. So let's see how many I can remember without looking. This is TB17. So one could say it's telling Yesh Ema Mikri, Yesh Ema Osiris. So it's either 4 or 3 that way. Or everyone could say it's telling the way the pasuk is read. That's the way it's read, it's 4. 1 is removed, so we're down to 3. So the question is the, according to the Rabbanan, the 3rd goes down, or it's L'Haisa. Or you can say it's really 6. 1's removed, so it's down to 4. And the Machlokes is the Schachti, the pasuk. We also have whether we're darshan tchilas, or lastly, the pasuk with Sukkah Teila Sel Yomam shows there has to be more of a permanent structure. Okay, Adkan.